I'm super, super excited. Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, this is really great. Seeing these teams come through and seeing them like at such a close level, seeing these matches so close, it makes it this final round even more exciting. They're gonna, like you said, bring all their tricks out, all their things they have up their sleeves. They're gonna try any kind of counterplay that they may have just come up with on the spot during the between the intermission. This is the time where all the stops are pulled out. This is where you bring your best A game to the stage, because this is your third round. You go out here, you're out. There will be a loser bracket, but this will be your last chance in the winner bracket. So you see what you can do coming on through as we do get our eyes on Wetfish making his way on in to capture that first point and hopefully get the action started.
You brought up a really good point there, Timmy, where, as you say, in the intermission, they had a chance to come up with counter strategies. And it's interesting to see how that's going to go. They've had 2 games now where they played against each other, and we've already seen how some team members have changed up their build slightly from the last game.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be what they've done here? Are they going to have said, right, so this guy's playing this, I need to counter this most. So I need to stop being shocked. I need to run hardened. I need to have a bit more survivability. So maybe Vampers are cool now, or maybe some vigor. Whether they've actually countered each other's teams perfectly because of what they've played, and whether the teams therefore have noticed that that's going to happen, have changed their play styles because of it. The mind games and the mentality and the strategies in this game are going to be so much more intricate that I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one ends.
I think you were right in what you were saying as well in regards to the maybe leaving a map choice for the end, because we see Himwood here, and that's a very, very popular map among a lot of these TDM scrimmers. Very open, wide map, and I'm willing to put my money down on Mardi trying to control that tower behind Starpoint, it being the highest point on the map. If he's still running that same build, of course, there's kind of less height here in comparison to Halcyon, so maybe Mardi will take that kind of backseat on the high tower while his teammates are pushing out. But it does look like we've just got that farming simulator to begin with, making sure that they're getting all of their boons, talents, gauntlets, and heals. One thing that I'm seeing a little bit more often in these games as well that we don't necessarily see in Dominion or Scrims is people picking up a lot of healing items. Obviously, we see Delicious Wetfish has got 3 of his 4 inventory slots open, and I see a lot of people kind of disengaging and using them healing pots to make sure that they're not going down and out for no good reason.
Well, that's an interesting thing about... Oh yeah, 100%. Never want to be the one feeding. But an interesting thing about the Dominion and the custom game play that we have with the Valguards in there is that it gives Vampire a whole nother use. Not only are you able to take 1v1s for a lot longer, healing off your opponent, you can break away, go farm up a few Valguards, and just fully replenish your health, ready to get back in there.
That's a really, really great point, and that's something that you don't normally see in any of the other game modes, but definitely going to be a huge strategy being utilized. And the cool thing about it is you don't have to stop to heal, right? If you're using Vampiric and you're healing off the bots or the Valguards, and you're in the middle of a fight, you can flick a fireball or a DF towards some and get some damage, I mean, get some health back from that. And it's just like, it's a much more fluid way to do it, that you can deal damage and slowly regenerate that health as you go through. And I'm really excited to see Himwood here. Definitely one of the maps that I kind of expected to see more of. I was kind of waiting for it to show up, and here it is finally as the 3rd pick. I'm wondering which team it's going to be in more favor of. Right now, it looks like a very, very close match, as it has been, and kind of what we expected here. But I think the interesting thing about Himwood that I noticed right off the bat with Wetfish and the way that he was looting is there are a lot of loot groups of Valguards that are not necessarily right in the center of the map. You can kind of go out toward the outliers of the map. You can kind of go away from the action. And that's what we saw early on in that handshake was they were looting and they were getting their scrolls and upgrades and stuff, but they were choosing the far away groups first. And then whenever those were spent and there was no more to get from those, they were forced to come in and take some more risky groups to do. And we saw Delicious Wetfish, when he came in to get those riskier groups of the Valguards, he was escorted by a teammate. And that you might think, wow, that's crazy. He had a teammate just to go get the loot. But no, in the center area where it's more dangerous, it would be unwise to go in and loot by yourself. And that's the kind of mentality that separates a competitive player from just a good player. And that's what you get in SGC make sure y'all check out the Discord, !Discord SGC. That way you can find
Let's
out
get it.
exactly how we throw down.
That's it. But again,
absolutely.
another super tight game we've got here again, 25-24 to Delicious Wet Fish's team. There is just 1 point between it every single time. Any exile we see go out, just 1 point shifts up for each team. Hopefully, maybe we can see Maddie's team maybe pull it back towards the end of the game. I know the comms are going to be impeccable for these games. We know how much is riding on this one. So, yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. But it looks like Delicious Wet Fish has been racking up them boons, able to get 3 upgrades in 1 recall, which is a super huge thing. You're not having to waste your time recalling constantly. Every boon you get up, it's really high level competitive play where we're seeing these players utilize every single different type of thing they can in the game to give themselves that advantage and be able to take them fights.
Everyone using RNG to their advantage here, because the shop obviously not guaranteed what you're going to get, but luckily enough they seem to be getting everything they need to upgrade, and it's just what you need. If you can recall often enough and at the point where you can use it best, then you're only setting yourself and the rest of your team up for more success by having just that slight bit more damage and that slight more cooldown reduction. It will just change the thing, because you can get your tornado out to get your updrafts quicker. You can get your firewall out to. You might be against the Frostborn, and you can get your firewall out twice in the space of the same time that they can do their tundras. So you're protecting yourself from a lot of fire damage there, just by frost damage there, just by having just a slight better cooldown reduction on your sorceries.
That's 100%, and you definitely see a lot of that kind of mentality and that play coming through here. As honestly, Wetfish's team is really showing a great display of teamwork. They just picked up 2 or 3 exiles there, and they really caught the other team out and unprepared. Really, they went in the center area, they chased them to the outskirts, and they 2v1. They focused up together, and they just picked up another one. Right now the blue team is definitely pulling ahead, and that is going to be Gecko's Wet Thigh. And honestly, from the Wetfish's perspective, he's a big part of why this is happening. He's doing a great job of keeping himself out of the center of this chaos, right where the conduit doesn't want to be, and dealing that little lightning poke damage. Eventually does get found out by a fireball, and that will bring us up to 43-40. But right now, I think Wetfish's team, or Gecko's Wet Thigh, has been able to get the advantage of getting their self updated or upgraded a little bit quicker than enemy team. And I think that's a big part of the game here that we haven't really talked about as much. Is there's really a race going on here. Yeah, there might be some fights and engagements that goes on whenever you guys kind of just run up on each other while you're looting, but really both teams is trying their best to get to that talent all the way upgraded, fully educated talents, so they can really capitalize on their build. And I think Wetfish, from what I can tell, he looks like he's ready to fight. He doesn't have it fully upgraded, but he's only 1 off or 2 off there. So it looks like he's shifted gears, and now that they've been able to catch this team, Dumb Ways to Die, out here in the hills, they're punishing them for it, and they're not letting them back into the safe area.
Exactly.
True, but they also can't seem to increase their lead at all. They're still stuck at this 3 to 4 point gap, and it just shows that even though they have got this lead, it's not safe by any stretch, because they just cannot extend it to a point where they can relax slightly.
Exactly that. Seeing huge beam from the lightning gauntlet coming from Delicious Wetfish there, almost took them out, and there they go. The beam is finished. But one thing I did want to mention as well, that we do have just an update on. It looks like Super Team did take out Cracked Knights for their game, so Super will be moving on to take on whoever wins this game. Timmy, I'm so sorry to be the bearer of bad news, my friend, but I thought I'd rip off the band-aid as quickly as I could.
Thanks, I appreciate that. They'll come back. Don't worry, they're coming back. It'll be fun.
If it makes you feel any better, Timmy, by the look of it at the moment, my team's going to be out just as soon as yours is. So we might both have to just cry it out together.
All right, yeah, we'll eat some ice cream and watch some movies. It'll be great.
Sounds good to me.
And I didn't realize how much the score had just differentiated as well. 58-52 now. They are absolutely crawling that lead ahead, sprinting ahead away from the enemy team. Delicious Wetfish's team. Incredible comms. And great gameplay from them. As Timmy said, almost fully upgraded at this point, looking to just finish out those exiles and catch themselves the dub.
I would actually love to find out whose choice it was for this map, because you've got both both teams that have got very distinct advantages on this map for very different reasons. Because obviously, there's a lot more open space in this, so Conduit becomes a lot more of a threat because there's a lot less for you to be able to hide behind and use line of sight to hide from it. But you've also got the fact that because there's not really much height that you can sit on, Stone Shaper is also another devastating class on this map, because there's just so much flat open ground that it will travel a lot.
Yes, 100%. If you position yourself well, you can definitely take advantage of it and capitalize on it. But positioning, I think, is the name of this round right now. We've seen this huge shift where Wet Thigh kind of started pushing up and started get a little bit of a lead. And I think what happened there was they were able to catch Dumb Ways to Die out a few times from that center area and separate them and get a little bit of that staggered mechanic they were talking about earlier, where you get the 1v2 and then your friend comes to help and they have to fight a 1v2 because you just died, and it's just an ongoing thing. And that happened for a little while, and then our boy Sloth pointed out that even though they were getting caught out, Dumb Ways to Die was still holding strong with only a 3 or 4 point deficit, and that's because they were able to pivot. After they got pushed out of the center, they got pushed on top of this big hill, but they were able to use that hill. They were able to use that landscape and that line of sight to stay safe. And for a long time, they were competing there, but they knew very well that they needed to get back to that center area. And at one point, they made the push to get back there, and that's when they got 3 or 4 more exiles taken from them. Now it's 71 to 66, and unfortunately, I think it was a positioning issue where Dumb Ways to Die got a little bit out of pocket. Gecko's Wet Thigh punished them for it, and from there, it was a time of just trying to recover. And I'm not sure if they can. Right now, they're doing their best, but things are looking a little rough. 73 to 68.
Holding a lead can always be a lot easier than trying to catch up, especially at this caliber of gameplay. And it's honestly astounding to see that they are managing to just keep it at a 5-point lead at the moment. And as you say, I think it's going to be a case of he who controls the movement and the map layout and where your team and their team are is going to be the one that wins this, because it's just impossible to come back from somewhere that you environmentally are weakest. If you're in the center of the map, not only do you have those battle guards all focusing on you, you've also got nowhere to hide from anything coming around. And with Fish dominating that with his conduit, it's just no way you want to be caught in the middle there. You want to be doing as they're trying to do now, get into the outskirts, using the mountains, using the environment really to their advantage and trying to pick them off one at a time.
Exactly. And speaking of Fish using the Lightning Gauntlet to his advantage, we can see here with his boom pickups, he's getting every little bit of mana increase he can. That bar is looking massive on his screen right now, and that is just perfect for beaming down the enemies, especially someone like Maddie, who he knows is going to be in the air. Is going to be trying to use Squall to their advantage. The Lightning Gauntlet is just coming out and doing absolute bits for Wetfish. And I think the absence of just those towers and the knocked off lines of sight is what's making such a huge difference in this game, as well as the positioning. Well, that brings positioning into it, I guess, is a lack of oh my gosh, the Dragonfire.
That was a lot of damage in a very short space of time.
Stunned me. Stopped me in my tracks. Incredible stuff. But we see Delicious Wet Fish getting out of there, getting the recall off, did not take him down, still got that boon there ready to go. Incredible play there. Super cool to see him make it out of there, and again picking up another mana upgrade.
Yeah, and honestly, right before he got out of that insanely dangerous situation, he had just got out of another dangerous situation. This is a conduit player. This is not a player that normally is right there in your face, right in the middle of stuff, but he's got that fire gauntlet on the left hand. Maybe he's feeling like a pyromancer a little bit, but he was right there in the middle of it. I was thinking it looks like Dumb Ways to Die had managed to make it back into the center and kind of even the position and the playground. As I saw Wetfish go down very, very low, I was assuming he was about to die, but no, not only did he go extremely low once, he went low twice, ended up getting out alive, recalling, and then coming down to get an exile. This is incredible. That's the kind of play that you have to be at. That's the kind of level that you have to be at to be able to compete in this. It's not just about aiming. It's not just about moving. It's about making the right decision at the right time. Do I commit to help my teammates? Do I recall to get my upgrades? Do I heal and push back in? What do I do? And time after time, we see this player, Wetfish, making the right call. and it shows in the score, 96-88, and that deficit is just getting wider and wider.
And he's actually maxed out all of his boons right there. I don't know if you guys noticed that when he was in the shop, but 105 armor, 100 mana, and 9 movement. This man is going to be unstoppable at this point. It's like Thanos collecting Infinity Stones.
Exactly that. And although we don't see kind of any max out on the talents, we've got the 2 points in the first talent, 2 in the second, and 1 in the vampiric. It seems to be doing more than enough for Delicious Wet Fish. We've got the legendary lightning gauntlet. We're going to see that mana bar become a full circle before we know
There
it.
it
But
is.
it is all over. There it is.
Unlucky
8 points
to
between
them.
We see Delicious Wet Fish with an incredible 3,200 damage there, doing
That's
absolute bits with the
insane.
lightning gauntlet. Indeed, Timmy, a round of applause out to all of the players.
They earned that
was
100%.
such a fun game. Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
That was great.
Incredible,
Beautiful display of how the
incredible.
game should be played in competitive play. And I think one of the most interesting things, and I think the thing that stood out to me the most, is the level of these players are so close that any tiny little advantage can be used to just play off of. I honestly think that team was so even. There was maybe one pick where Dumb Ways to Die got into the wrong position, and from that one pick, they just struggled to recover from that point on. And then Gecko's Wet Thigh, specifically Wet Fish, was able to take that momentum, keep the ball rolling, and just push it onto a dub. Beautiful, beautiful work, and GG's to both those teams.
Yeah, honestly, I can't stress enough how insane that game was to watch. Both teams played that absolutely insane. And as you said, Timmy, at this kind of level where both teams are as competitive and as skilled as both teams are, one tiny little mistake will literally be make or break for them. And it just shows in that final game there. One little maneuverability error, and that's it. It's just they couldn't come back from that 3-point lead, which then extended into a 10-point lead by the end of that game.
100%.
Yeah, super crazy.
This next team, this next battle is going to be more of the same, where the level of the play from these players are nearly perfect. So it's the same. Any little slip up could mean the end of the team. And I'm really, really excited about this one, because not only do we have the Wet Thigh that we just saw really just pop off and display a great level of spell break at a high level, we have our Metafy coach, Kyrie Caitlin. I have been waiting to see her do her thing all night long. It is such this powerful leading voice on a team when Kyrie is on their team. When you can literally see the change of battle flow, you can pinpoint the time whenever she starts speaking up and telling people what to do. And there's going to be much more of this is a team that works together, so there are going to be a lot more communications. But I think that she's definitely going to still be kind of calling the shots, leading her team, and making the right decisions. And that's what it's going to take going in. And I can't wait. I'm super excited. Metafy, by the way, you guys, if you don't know, is a sponsor. Eldigo, can you tell them a little bit about Metafy if they don't know?
Oh, of course. Metafy, an incredible platform for gaming of any type, spellbreak included. Play and learn from some of the best in the world. We've got 3 of our very own on Metafy. We've got Kyrie, Chaos, and Kamsky. For those of you who don't know what Metafy is, it's an online platform that allows players to learn from some of the best players in the world. It's not limited to kind of any region, which is a really awesome thing to see. You get one-on-one direct coaching sessions with these creators as well, which is something that's quite rare, to be able to sit down and just have a conversation with someone, play through some games, see how you get on, and they can recommend what you need to work on. There's just so much that can be done with the Metafy platform. So make sure, if you're going to check it out, use code CSL15 for a 15% discount. Go and check out one of the amazing coaches. You will not regret it. But that's something I'm looking forward to in this game for sure, is we're going to be seeing Kyrie going up against Thunderthigh in this next game. So we've got student against teacher. I think this is going to be such an incredible thing to watch. I think that there's going to be a little bit of a friendly competition there between Kyrie and Thunder to see who comes out on top. Maybe a cheeky 1v1 here and there to see who comes out on top. But I think this is going to be a super fun game, for that reason and a million others.
Oh, 100%. And I just wanted to say thank you as well to Sector X, who have been absolutely insane, and Rogue Yoshi behind the scenes for putting the production of all of this together. We really couldn't host such a well-looking and well-maintained event without Sector X being here to help give us the facilities to do so, and Rogue Yoshi's experience behind the scenes, really hitting all the right buttons at all the right time, giving us all the information we need exactly when we need it. It's been so easy tonight that I don't know if I speak for the other two, but I was a little bit nervous. This is my first time casting before now. I was a little bit nervous, but being here, it's just been so easy thanks to what Sector X and Rogue have done. And obviously, of course, the amazing company that I've been paired up with tonight as well. It's been one hell of an experience, and I'm honored and humbled by all of you. So thank you very much to Metafire, Sector X, and my fellow co-hosts here.
That's it. That's it.
Well
We're here
said.
for it. We're
Well
here for it.
said.
And yeah, pleasure and humbled. Sloth, I think you encapsulated how we're all feeling here tonight, which is we're having fun. We're watching some incredible Spellbreak games. We are seeing top level plays. We've got some great people on the bench, and yeah, just everyone behind the scenes has been doing absolute bits. The players have been doing absolute bits. Everyone's doing bits, and it's incredible to see. We're all here for it. The community is incredible. Everyone in chat, you're incredible as well. Thank you so much for being here, showing the love, sharing this event with us. Make sure if you're not in the Discord already, go and join it. Thank you all so much.
Yes,
Speaking of the Discord, obviously, not only !SGC to come and join us, but Kyrie has put in so much effort, not only in establishing the Discord and planning this event with obviously the help of the other staff members that we've taken on, but by the looks of this bracket, somehow also finding time to practice with her team, to scrim with everyone else. Like, what is going on here? Kyrie, you okay?
No, she needs sleep. Hopefully after this, she
Yeah, I
gets
can
some sleep.
imagine.
But yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, incredible. Kyrie Caitlin, I can't talk about enough much driving force that she is why we are here. The SGC would not even have been a thought, or it would not have came to fruition without her. And she has put so much time and effort into the back of everything. Yes, huge shout out to Kyrie Caitlin and everybody else. You guys are incredible. But what is it all for other than just having fun and enjoying the community and enjoying Spellbreak? There's some stuff on the line, you guys.
You mean
These
there's more
competitors
than
right
fun
here.
to be had?
Yeah, more than fun, dude. It's crazy.
No.
I know. Lucky. But if you don't know,
we
there's
getting?
some prize money on the line. We got codes to give away. All right. In-game gold. That's right.
How much?
$300 to our first place. Also, Crackshot or Priestess codes of their choice to those players. That's another extra $100 value, extra on top of the 300. Second place will walk away.
You can't get those anymore.
True. Yes. That's
Yes.
one of the really cool things about these codes is you get outfits that are no longer available. So, you know, I think there's a video on YouTube shows the top 10 most rare outfits. So maybe one of those are on there. Go check it out. But also $150 to the second place with some codes, same type of codes, go to them of their choice. Third place gets a $50 to split between the team and their 3 codes with 1,000 gold in each of those codes. And I think there's going to be some codes given out in chat. So if you guys are hanging out in chat, keep an eye open, keep an ear open. Look out for those giveaways. But yeah, we're going to jump into this next match very soon, and I cannot wait. What are you guys thinking? Okay, I might have to take my blazer off. All right, this is about to get okay. Super team and Gecko's wet thigh. Who's coming out? LD, what are you thinking?
Oh man, I think I've got to give it to Super Team. I think I'm ready for Super Team to come out and show us how it's done. By no means is Gecko's wet thigh going to allow them to do that easily. By no means. I think it's going to be an extremely tight match. But I'm here to see it. I'm here for all of the action, and I can't wait. But Sloth, what do you think?
I genuinely don't think I can call this. I mean, obviously, I'm joining Timmy in the sin bin with my team being out already, which is commiserations to them. But I mean, that just goes to show how close the competition is here. We really have not been able to call it at all from the off here, and I think that's going to continue here. I genuinely, looking at both of these teams, I could not tell you which one is going to take it. It's all going to depend on the RNG of the shop, of what the Valguards give them, how they position themselves within the map, what maps they choose, and what servers they get. I think it's definitely gonna come down to the tiniest little mistakes or advantages that each team can carve out, and I'm just looking forward to seeing who it is that's going to finally lift that crown.
Exactly.
I'm really excited about it. I have been told that the teams are taking a short little breather, get themselves all loose and prepared for this final match. So we're gonna be waiting for them to come back in shortly, but they'll be back with us really soon. And I'm really excited to see this go through on this next match, and honestly to see if there's any kind of surprise strategies coming out. I feel like we've seen a good mix of strategies, but nothing that's been like, oh my gosh, they're playing Chronomancer or or Featherfall or anything. Like, I'm wondering if anybody has something they're going to bring out that's like, wait a second, I never thought of it that way. But as we get closer to the end, we're definitely going to see potentially some of that. But I'm really most excited at the narrative that's kind of been built here. We talked about Metafy throughout the tournament. We've talked about our coaches, and we have one coach in this tournament, and we have one student in this tournament. Yes. And guess what? They both made it to the finals? Huh? Question mark. Metafy might be where it's at.
Moments.
So, I mean, Metafy's legit. That proves it right there. Check it out if you haven't already. But it's going to be really interesting to see the student versus the teacher. Is the teacher going to come through and teach another lesson, or will the student have graduated? It's going to be really exciting to see. And also, is the student going to be a mere reflection of the teacher, or are they going to do their own thing, take the lessons learned, apply it to their own ideology, and create something new? I'm really anxious to see. But one thing we're going to get for sure is great teamwork, communication.
Yes.
Period.
100%. Could not agree more. It does also look like as well there is going to be no qualms for server across these. They are all NA with the exception of one on NA Central, but I believe there's NA East and NA West, so I think it will just all be down to NA East. Everyone should be on a nice amount of ping, so we shouldn't have any kind of differentiation there in the teams, which is super awesome to see. We've got top level Pyromancer and Frostborn on Super Team, with Arctic being the Pyromancer, ironically enough, and Newbie being the Frostborn. You'd have thought the other way around by the names, but I am corrected. But yeah, I can't wait for this. It's super fun. We've seen Gecko's Wet Thigh do absolute bits in the last game, so hopefully they can bring it back round again against Super. But I'm here voting for Super. I'm ready for Kari, Arctic, and Newbie to show them how it's done. I'm excited to watch one of Super Team's games. We've been waiting to see whether it will happen, and here it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't know what more I can say, to be honest. Like, literally, these teams are the pinnacle of the tournament we've had tonight. They fought through 4 rounds so far to get here, and each round has been increasingly harder than the next. The opponents have been getting increasingly more skilled, and the team synergy has been getting much more gelled together. Like, you cannot tell players apart. They're just fitting their part and their role so smoothly. I just want to. I can't wait for this to be in this game and get some spectating going and some commentating going on some of the absolute strats that we're going to see today. Like, this is what it's all been building towards. And as you say, the fact that we've also got it as a final with a student and a mentor, it's gonna bring. There's got to be some friendly rivalries involved in these two teams, at least on that basis alone. So that's going to add even more. And could it shake Thunder a little bit, knowing that he's got to come up against the person who trained him? And does this mean Kyrie has a slight advantage knowing how Thunder plays because she's the one that taught him?
Definitely.
Good point there.
I would say definitely. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see who comes away with the dub, because the other one will never be able to not hear about it again.
Yeah, that's it. We'll never be lived down.
Now, remember, when I defeated you in the tournament, you did this. Listen to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens coming in, especially with Arctic and Newbie. We've been talking about Thunderthigh and Kyrie Caitlin mostly because they're the Metafy players that we know really well, and the whole narrative is kind of really interesting to see. But I mean, Gecko, Delicious Wetfish, Arctic, and Newbie are all superstars in their own right. Arctic and Newbie being #1 Pyromancer, #1 Frostborn. They are some of the best to play that class for sure, without doubt. and to see them all play their classes, feel their role, and do what they're there to do really well, and then see it all be coordinated by a leader. That's going to be a thing of beauty. I'm right there with Sloth. I'm on the edge of my seat, man. I'm like, let's go. Let me in. I want to see this happen. But either way, it's going to be worth the wait, because these teams are going to be on another level, and it's going to be really exciting to see exactly what strategies they bring to the table to overcome the near perfect opponents that they're facing here.
That's it. Has anybody got any predictions what they think we might see map rotation? Whether, we'll be going maybe straight in with a Himwood. I know you said, Timmy, you're expecting to see it a little bit more. Maybe, as Sloth was saying, people are using that as their final ditch effort to get in that third round to get that dub. So maybe we'll see someone switch it up, see that them third rounds have only happened once. So maybe it's time to get Himwood in there first, see if they can get that double whammy knockout, and see if that works. But what are you guys thinking map-wise?
I definitely think we're going to see another Halcyon. There's no doubt about that. It's been at the forefront of every single matchup this tournament so far. And I don't think we're going to get to the winners final here without seeing it again, at least one last time.
Absolutely. Halcyon, I would assume, will be our first pick. If we get to a third match, maybe Himwood again. But it seems like there's two choices, Halcyon and Mayhem, right? Or is it Mayhem? Yeah, Mayhem. So I'm not sure exactly what it is completely about those maps, but it seems like there's a lot of potential in the landscape and in the structures in terms of setting up your team base or whatever. And it seems like that's what's happening a lot here. Is in these arenas, in these maps, there are towers or locations where your team really wants to secure. They want to hold it down. They want to lock it down, because that is the most advantageous place to be. And it seems like Halcyon and Bainhelm have been really learned very well by all of the teams. So maybe that's why we're seeing a lot of the same maps coming out. But it'll be interesting, especially if we get a third map, to see if we get something different. We did get Dust Pool on that one round. I don't expect to see Dust Pool again.
No, I don't think we will either. Dust Pool's a bit of a peculiar map that we kind of see in TDMs. It's not really one that's pushed for. It's more of a, I guess we can do that map if we're not doing this one or this one, like, Halcyon or Himwood. I very much see it as a, okay then, as more of 100%. I want that map. But I have just seen a cheeky little host note there. It looks like Breather is over, map is decided, and the action is very, very soon to come. So once Sloth is on his way back, it looks like the players are on their way to ready up, which is super, super cool to see. We'll be getting you guys in the action momentarily. But I think the map's going to play a big part in this game. Like I say, we see both teams on a very high level of competitive play, coach, student. There's we've got high level, long standing players. We've got players who dip in and out and are still performing at an extremely high level. I think a lot of practice, synergy, and communication have gone into these teams, and you can see it in the matches. It's incredible.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, I'm thinking about team compositions. I'm thinking about popular classes that we've seen throughout this tournament, and I'm seeing one class suspiciously absent. I'm thinking I don't see a lot of Stone Shapers in this tournament so far, or at least that we've been able to spectate yet. I'm wondering. So we've seen a lot of Frost. We've seen a lot of Conduit. We've seen a Pyromancer, and we've seen a Toxicologist. So I'm really interested to see what's coming in terms of team composition. Obviously, we have a number one Pyromancer, we have a number one Frostborn, and honestly, Kyrie is kind of like a flex. She can do whatever she wants and really just pop off all the time. So I'm not sure exactly what we should expect from Kyrie. But I do see a couple of player choices here before you guys get to see them on chat, and I am going to keep them to myself. But I think we're going to see some really interesting compositions in this particular round, and maybe some classes that we might not have really seen played that much before.
That's it. I mean, as a stone shaper myself, I've been a stone shaper main for gosh, about a year and a half now, and it has been a ride to say the least. Stone has gone through its ups and downs. I think the reason why we're not seeing Stone picked as often at the moment is just because of the strength of Tempest. With so many Tempest players out there, the Stone, it's very difficult to compete against the Tempest as a Stone shaper. I have done my fair share of time in fighting Tempests. Mardy being one of them, as we saw in previous games, performing extremely well. Um, super, super cool stuff. So I think that's going to be one of the main reasons that we're missing out on that Stone Shaper action. I wish we could see a little bit more. I'm a big fan of it, but with Tempest being so strong, and then we see the Frostborn as well. If you're not running hardened with that Stone Shaper, and you get a Frost Lance come at you from a Frostborn, you've got a Lacrit in front of you. That Stone Slam is just going to freeze you up in the spot, and it's just a very grounded class, which some people just don't think gel too well with that style of gameplay. It's very much a waiting and timing game where you've got to wait for your opponents to hit the floor and hit that timing with your shockwaves. Then being thinner since last chapter as well means you've got to be even more accurate with them.